I always say that, acting is the rejection business. Most of the time you're waiting. You can't believe in yourself. Who's going to believe in you, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, let's call a spade here. Like there are a lot of people who do gatekeep.
Right.
We have to pay for so many things. All these, subscriptions. Didn't have an agent at that time. I don't want to do these types of things. Like this is not for me, right? And I know people say like, well, you're an actor, you should be able to play like anything. It's ridiculous. And so I have been asked that, and I've challenged it in the past too, where I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. There's a lot of talent that needs to be, recognized. I think that people are really starting to appreciate what Toronto has, what Toronto has to offer. We are a beautiful city. Learn the business, learn every single aspect of the business. Just being an actor it's not enough.
Before we get into this interview, I would love it if you subscribe to our channel. It helps us out so much, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and enjoy the interview. Hello and welcome. Welcome to this hour with Mercedes. How do I say your last name? Actually, I should start that.
Let's. Okay, so it's Cardella.
Okay.
I was gonna.
Don't test me.
Let's test you.
I was gonna be like Cardella. Like I just absolutely make the L's a Y.
No. It's an Italian last name. Everyone thinks it's a Spanish last name, but it's no.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was gonna go with, Spanish last name, but Italian, because I know that from your bio.
That's it.
Excellent. Alrighty. So we were talking before, and it was just a great conversation. So I'm just gonna go back to it. You started acting when you were really young.
Yeah.
In theater, right?
Yeah.
So how young did you start?
So I started acting, I would say, when I was 14. In theater school. I went to Wexford, and so it was really exciting. I was there for the 4 years, and just that's how I started picking up theater. Like I went into the musical theater program. And I loved it. Like It was a great program to sing, and you were dancing, and you were learning how, to master the craft. And it was just a very different experience. It is a very different experience to be on stage versus being in front of the camera, right? So. Do
you have a favorite love between the two? If they paid the same, I always ask.
Yeah, if they paid the same, I would be on the stage because I love the stage. I think that there's a different type of energy when you're performing in front of people, and it's like every night it's a different show, even though you have the same lines and you have the same situation that's happening, but the energy is different. And you get to really feel that energy when you're on stage. And there's something that is incredible about it that you don't necessarily get when you're on camera, because you just get that one shot, that's that one take, and that's it. That's where it lives, right? So.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, there's something very addictive.
Yeah.
About the performing live.
I have all of my mom's side, like my grandmother's side.
Yeah.
All of that side still there, and then on my grandfather's side, most of them are here in Canada, but we do have some relatives as well in Sicily and in Rome as well.
Nice, very nice. Because you went there not too long ago, right?
Yeah, I was just there not too long ago. Like I literally came back, like a week ago?
No way, stop, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was nice. It was nice to be there. And that's Sicily's home for me. That's part of my roots, and it's just home for me. It's my happy place. It's a place for me to just kind of find myself again and my balance and my center. So
nice. Are you bilingual?
I'm trilingual.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What are the three?
Obviously English, Spanish, and Italian.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Awesome. I wish I spoke English well most of the time.
Don't we all?
It's like I have one, and it's not even great.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We were talking about off camera that you worked with some big names when you were younger, and they've gone off to stardom and that kind of thing, and how you would handle that in your life. How do you think it would have been different for you?
I think that if I continued to pursue acting at such a young age, I think it just wouldn't have worked out well for me. I don't think I had, that maturity at that age to really accept and understand the business and understand and be prepared for the rejection that comes with it. I always say that, acting is the rejection business. Most of the time you're just waiting for, this opportunity, right? And so I think that, my mindset then it just wouldn't have worked out for me. I don't think I was prepared. I think that it would have been very hard for me to hear no's. I would have reflected it back on me and thought like, what's wrong with me? And and all of your insecurities that you deal with when you're in your teens and in your early 20s, right? It just wouldn't have been a great environment. And I think that I'm very fortunate that I'm pursuing it a little bit later in life, or whatever we call it, later in life, but I think you can pursue it at any time. So.
Oh yeah, anytime. Anytime. So when did you get back into it?
So I officially got back into it when I turned 27.
Okay.
I went back to class at that age, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to do like film and TV acting, because it's very different from theater acting. So I decided to get into a class and really learn about the craft. And then I officially started my acting journey at 28.
Nice.
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What made you decide to get back into it? Like, what changed for you?
So I was actually living in Saudi Arabia.
No way.
Yeah, I was teaching English there, and I loved it. It was a fantastic experience. And I realized that in my classroom, I was using a lot of like theater technique to teach my students, how to speak English and how to get used to speaking English. And my class, my cohort of students that I had, they were really doing well and doing like phenomenally well. And so people would ask, like, what's your secret? Why are you getting your students, like beginner students, why are they learning how to speak at such an advanced level so quickly? And I would let them know that, it's probably because of the theater techniques that I'm doing in my class. And I was using those types of techniques in there, and they were getting so comfortable with it, and they loved it. And it was actually one of my students that like looked at me and she was like, Miss, like you should go back into acting. Like you're a great teacher, but you should go back into acting.
That is so sweet.
And I think it was just because, like she wasn't really like, she was my student, but she wasn't like a family member, or she wasn't, like I guess the advice. Yeah, it was just so objective, right? And so I was like, I really think this is something that I need to actually try and give it a shot, because I didn't. I was just kind of running around in circles trying to find my way, and then it led me right back to it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to come back home and I'm going to give it my shot.
Amazing. That's incredible. And when you looked for acting classes, where did you go? So
the first class that I did was, I asked a friend of mine who was also in the industry at the time, and I said, okay, where are you going? Where are you training? Because I don't know where to go. And so I started off at EVN Studios.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun, and I had a great time there. And then I've tried LB as well. Lewis is fantastic. But I would say my home base is definitely Raw.
Nice.
Raw Studios. Raw is fantastic. What Sophie and what Grisha are doing there is fantastic. And it's just propelled me to be, a better actor, a better artist. And yeah, I just love what they're doing. So that's my home base for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've had a few people from Raw Studio on the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to hear good things about them.
Yeah, Raw's awesome.
That's wicked. Awesome. And then getting back into the industry at 26 or 28.
Well, officially
right?
28, yeah.
Officially 28.
Yeah.
What lessons were you taking from previous life advice that you were ready to implement into your acting career now, or things you didn't have when you were younger in the theater that you have now as an adult?
Experience. I just think even just having experience, like I was able to travel the world, I was able to talk to people, I was able to connect with locals, and just having that experience that I didn't have, and that maturity, that in and of itself, it changes the way that you approach, the craft, the business, and everything that you do, right? So I think just having that maturity and having that belief in myself as well, because if you can't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you, right?
Yeah.
So I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like I needed to grow up and I needed to experience the things that I experienced, and life had to happen in order for me to continue to bet on myself.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
very well said. Yeah, because you need to live life in order to be able to portray life on screen or on stage, right? So that's amazing.
Yeah.
For getting back into acting, did you get an agent right away, or wait, actually, you know what? Let me rewind.
Yes.
When you say officially 28, what qualifies as officially back into it? Like you having an agent, or you being union, or what did you...
Okay, that's a great question.
What did you consider as officially back into it?
I guess officially, what I considered officially was getting back into it was that I got my headshots. I didn't have an agent at that time, but I was looking for work myself. So I was acting as my own agent.
Yes.
I was scouring like Facebook, groups, and I was, I was a part of every Facebook actors community you could think of, student films, trying to build a demo reel and trying to make, connections and partnerships with people so that I can be in their films and that they could give me a chance, and taking classes as well, all throughout. But really putting myself out there and saying like, oh, like I'm an actor. This is what I'm doing. So I think that is what I officially, I guess classify as me being an actor and really trying to put myself out there. But I didn't get my first agent until about a year later. 2019 was my first agent.
Nice. Yeah, I like that answer. Because a lot of people are, oh, it's when I'm union, it's when I have an agent. And I'm like, have you acted? You're an actor.
Exactly.
You're doing the thing.
You're doing the thing,
right? I love that. So are you still with your first agent, or have you been with multiple agents since?
I'm not with my first agent. I'm with my second. So this is the second agent now.
Nice. And who's your agent? Shout out.
My agent is Mike Marino from NCA.
Nice. And how are you liking it?
He's incredible. I love him. He's fantastic, understands me, and he's
what
great.
What made you go with that agent when you were doing the rounds?
So actually a friend of mine who's also a friend of yours was also a part of this, Sam.
Okay, yes.
Sam's agent.
Nice.
And so I saw Sam and I saw Sam's career and I was like, man, like Sam's getting lots of work. So something's happening, and Sam's fantastic. Like he is absolutely fantastic at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. So I just approached him and I said, hey, you know what, like who's your agent? Because clearly they're doing something. And so he was like, you know what, like I can put in a recommendation, but I can't promise you. Like, that's fair. I'm like, you know what, it's up to the agent to see what they like. If they like it, then they like it. That's that, right?
100%.
And sure enough, the agent saw what I had given, and he liked what he saw, and we met, and we just had a really great chemistry. We talked, we chatted, we discussed, what the trajectory is and what I'm looking for, and it just seemed like a really good and a really healthy fit for me. So
nice.
So that's what it's
awesome.
been about.
It really does. That's how I got my current agent too. Is from a friend who was on the roster. Yeah. And did a recommendation.
Referrals.
Yeah. So like get to know people.
Get to know people, network. I'm terrible at it, but
I know. I hate it, but it's we have to.
We have to. It's a part of the business, right?
Right.
So
100%. But yeah, absolutely. Even if there's like an agency that like you're curious about or anything like that, like find out who's on it that's working and just ask them questions. Like, you'd be amazed, like, when
Yeah.
you just send people messages who will respond, and
It's true.
it was like very welcoming to answer questions.
true.
I think we all have this like scary, you know, I don't wanna ask.
Reasonably so. I mean, there's a lot of people, let's call a spade here. Like, there are a lot of people who do gatekeep, and there's a lot of people who won't say anything, or they won't share. And it sucks, because why? Like, for what? What's
Why?
the purpose? Why?
Yeah.
You know, everyone's gonna eat. So why? You know, like, I hate it. I really don't like when people gatekeep, or when, people are asking for advice, and it's like, oh, like, pay me for this advice, or everything has to be, monetized, especially in this day and age. Everything has to be monetized, and it's like, just be a decent human being, and just say things, I don't know. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, especially when it's like so simple, like simple things.
Exactly.
Like if it's a course that you're selling on a special, I don't know, whatever, a special course that requires some expertise that you went to school for or whatever, sure, fine, I can buy into that.
Exactly.
But yeah, if it's just like common knowledge, like this is something that you should know if you want to be an actor, then you should probably just like we were saying, we pay for enough.
Exactly. We pay for enough. We pay for headshots. We pay for this. We pay for that. We have to get our studios up and self-tape. We have to pay for so many things. All these, subscriptions to all these different, casting.
All of the apps.
Things and apps, and like, come on. Like,
I know.
Just be a decent human being.
Just draining me from every point.
So, and imagine if you didn't have the means, and you want to pursue this, and you don't have the financial means to do it. It can be a lot. Yeah. And so I just think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. What advice would you give to actors just starting out on their journey?
Learn the business. Learn every single aspect of the business. Just being an actor it's not enough. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not enough. Look, like, your craft is your craft, and I think it's incredible, but you need to understand, it's called show business for a reason. You have to understand contracts. You need to learn how to read contracts. You need to learn all these terms and the terminology and the terms on set, so you don't look like, a deer in headlights when you're on set, right? Like, learn everything about the business. Be a PA, and just go on set and have that experience, because it's going to teach you so much about the industry, about work, about how things run, about how productions run, your place in productions, whether you're behind the camera or in front of the camera. Yeah, just that's what I would say. Like, truthfully, if you're just starting out, learn everything about the business.
Nice. What is something that you learned about the business that surprised you?
Producing. Yeah. Is a lot.
Yeah.
I think that producers don't get enough credit for what they really do, because it's good producing is silent. Yeah. But everything from the meals that you're eating on set to to the locations and everything coming together, I think that's it's really incredible to see what really happens in the background of things, and all your insurance and your errors and omissions and all that boring stuff, but it needs to be done, right? So
I find too, looking at like any other role, like producing, directing, anything that requires like you be part of the pre-production process and the production process specifically, and obviously you're going to be a part of the post-production process. But because as an actor, we think we're all very important and probably a lot more important than we are. But you show up, you do your job, you go home, and you do the next thing. Yeah. Whereas producing or directing, like, you're living with it. It's your roommate.
It's your roommate.
You've been married to this project, and you bring it home with you, and it's 24/7.
And after the production, it still lives with you. It's still that thorn on your side that's just like, oh, it's still there with you, because then you have post, and you have distribution, and you have festivals, and you have the marketing, and you have all these things, and wrapping up loose ends, and you have all these things that you still have to do. So I think it's it's definitely it's the most surprising thing, but it's rewarding because you get to really be a part of it from its inception. Yeah, which is really beautiful.
Do you like producing then?
I do. I do enjoy it. I love acting as well.
Yes, of course.
I love it, but I do enjoy producing as well.
Nice. Yeah. And you were producing, were you in Scarborough producing and acting, or?
No, I wasn't producing Scarborough. Oh, okay. I was just acting in Scarborough.
Okay, you're acting in Scarborough. Tell me about Scarborough.
Scarborough was a great project. It was just phenomenal. Catherine Hernandez, who is the author, wrote a book first and then adapted it into a screenplay. And she did a fantastic job with it. It is a story about community. It is a story about a community that I was raised. I grew up in Scarborough, Scarborough to the world, and it was just a great homecoming project for me to be a part of, because when we were shooting like on the streets, like those are the streets that I walked on, and those are the landmarks that I was familiar with, and those are that's the nail place that I went to, and like just a lot of the places that are featured in the movie. It really brings a lot of good memories, because that's Scarborough's home for me. So
yeah, I think Toronto and Canada in general need more of that, of like the landmarks and the streets and stuff, because a lot of people will come and film here to make it look like New York or Chicago or whatever, which is fine. We'll take the money, but I always wonder how it is for people in like London or LA or New York, who all of the films they watch is like their neighborhood.
Yeah,
like I don't think we have enough of that.
Exactly.
There's some, obviously.
It's true. We don't. We need more Toronto-centric films and stories that are based in Toronto, right? That are also, being displayed in the world, and people worldwide are watching it. Like, audiences from everywhere can watch it and be like, oh, that's really cool. That's a great area in Toronto, and and they can start to just like how we've been so exposed to New York, and we've been exposed to LA, and we're like, wow, the palm trees and this, and like the Hollywood sign, right? So I think it's Toronto needs that. I think that it is going to happen. I think it's starting to happen. I think that people are really starting to appreciate what Toronto has, what Toronto has to offer. We are a beautiful city. And there was once upon a time where we would have, as actors, we would really have to like leave here. Like there was nothing for us, forget it. You'd have to make your, that trip over to either to New York or to Chicago or to LA. And now there's opportunities here. So, we're pretty fortunate in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's a magical time of like this weird shift of the Toronto industry of being like, okay, we need to do our own stuff. Yeah. Because every time there's strikes or something happens with the American market and everything leaves, we're all like, but wait, what?
Exactly.
we need more of us.
We need more of us, and we need to make sure that we have that we're self-sufficient.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that when shit hits the fan and nobody films here for whatever reason, that we can still prosper and like sustain. Like,
exactly.
Let's do it, people. And I wanted to ask you, you're making writing and creating and starring in a TV show that you're going to be pitching soon.
I am.
What can you tell me about the TV show?
So the show is it's a really special project. It is based on the lives of two girls, two friends who are racially ambiguous, and they're trying to find themselves in a world that hasn't evolved past black or white.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that.
Alrighty,
but it's super exciting, and I've written the pilot for it, and it's a daunting task to just write a pilot. Like that alone is like whoa.
Right.
But super proud. I have a really great team as well that has been part of this journey, and so yeah, now we're just. We have it packaged and ready to go. So now we're going to start pitching it to some production companies and so forth to see if we can get it picked up.
Amazing. And do you have a title for it?
I do.
Can you share it?
I'll share it.
Okay.
It's called Ambiguous.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
That's wicked.
It's
That's
out
so
there.
exciting.
Now it's out there in the world.
Now
it has to be made.
You heard
it
here
has
first.
to be created.
That's right. And I asked before we started filming what network ideally you would want it to be aired on.
HBO.
Ayo.
HBO.
I love the specificity.
Yeah, I just, you know what? I think it would be a fantastic show for that network. I wrote it in a way where I had that network in mind. It was like, yeah, like this is going to be an HBO show, so that's
amazing.
That. But yeah, no, I do see it living there. Who knows? Ultimately, it's going to live where it's going to live, right? But
right.
But I do see HBO, so I'm manifesting HBO.
Yes, manifest HBO.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love that you picked a network. I was expecting, I feel like everybody goes, Netflix, because that's just a really big one.
Yeah.
But I love that you wrote it in mind for a network and you picked a network that you love and believe in.
Yeah.
And yeah. That's
it's a strong network, and I love the work and the writing that a lot of the shows that HBO has produced. Some of my favorite shows have come out of there, like The Wire, Sopranos, Sex and the City.
Yes.
So like a lot of great shows that I love and admire, and especially the writing, like it's just phenomenal. So
nice.
Yeah.
And now speaking of racially ambiguous, very nice segue. You wanted to talk about, or you were open to talking about it. I was curious, what's like as casting? Yeah, what's the...
You're opening some serious cans of worms here.
I was hoping so. But yeah, for casting, what's the most random, or you're like really out there that they've asked you to portray? Or have you ever gotten one and been like, no.
Cringe or whatever?
Or like, I don't want to...
I have been asked to portray like Pacific Islander, like Samoan.
Okay.
I've been asked to portray Indigenous as well, which I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not it's not right. I think the most, like, I think for me outlandish, I would say, is that I've been asked several times, because they know like, okay, she does have like Latin diaspora, to do things in an accent.
Oh.
So to read in like with like a heavy like Latin accent, and it's like, well, like
meanwhile they're trying to beat the accent out of everybody.
Yeah.
Be like, talk with a Jed.
Exactly, right? So it's like, okay, which is it, right? And and then it's like, and even with a Latin accent, like there isn't this general Latin accent that people can use. It's ridiculous. And so I have been asked that, and I've challenged it in the past too, where I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. It's not going to prove my ethnicity, or it's not going to prove what I am, and
or
the story. It's not going to strengthen the story. It wasn't, and to be honest with you, I think that was like for like a commercial or something like that. So it was just like, I don't know, it was just really ridiculous. But yeah, I would say those are some instances that I've experienced personally.
And did you have to go over that with your agent in the meeting when?
So that happened with a previous agent, and I found that I was starting to kind of slip into a lot of these type of stereotypical things.
Right.
So I made sure that with my new agent, I said, look, I don't want to do these types of things. Like, this is not this is not for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what I believe in.
Yeah.
So, and that my current agent is very respectful of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
If these are important things to you, I hope you talk to your agent about them because, if they're going to send you out for casting, then you want to.
Or it's like they just, sometimes I think they just don't know where to put you. So then they just will send you out for things that it's like
for anything,
where it's like they don't ask like a specific like what they're looking for. It's like
any age, any race.
Yes. There was a term for it, but I can't remember right now. But it's like any age, any race. And I'm like, wow, great. Okay, so this could be anybody.
That says
like
so much about the character
now
you're
this
looking
is really
for.
great. Like, you know, like so I've noticed that that's what I get a lot of too, because it's like, well, they can't pinpoint me or they can't put me in this like what is she type of thing. So it's the story of a racially ambiguous person, right? So.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to get any spoilers, but I definitely wanted to ask because I feel like looking at your headshot without telling me that you were Italian Canadian, I was thinking Egyptian.
Yeah, I get Arab a lot.
Yeah,
I get Moroccan a lot.
Right.
Which isn't terribly so it's not inaccurate because I do have some Tunisian blood in me. Right. So I'm full transparency. I am Italian. My father is Cuban and Jamaican as well. So so there's lots of different things going on.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think from first glance, like a lot of people just think like, oh, she's Egyptian or oh, she's Moroccan. Like those are the two I get a lot.
Right.
And then I'm like, no,
actually.
So
yeah. And do you your reasoning for not taking on certain roles like Samoan and Native American, what's your reasoning for that?
Well, I think
that's important.
We have plenty of talented Native American actors that need that representation and deserve that representation. So I don't feel like I need to be in that, that's not my arena, right? I can't relate to a lot of those experiences, right? But in terms of, what I am and what I encompass, I feel like that I can do, right? And so, I know people say like, well, you're an actor, you should be able to play like anything and there's just truth in that as well. But I mean, I think in terms of that, I think there's a lot of talent that needs to be, recognized.
Yeah, no, especially in a time where it is like such an important topic of conversation and important that we do have those voices heard and stuff. That's why I asked, because I knew that'd be the answer. I was like, I know
you
why.
knew the answer.
I knew the answer. Just wanted everybody else to know.
Exactly.
I love it. I wanted to ask you about your magic carpet productions.
Yeah.
Yay. Now, why did you start a production company?
I started it selfishly because I felt like I wanted to be in a position where I could tell or I could work with the stories that I wanted to work with. And, I love exploring humanity and all that there is to it and the nuances of that. So I felt like, well, I think it's the next step for me. I want to be able to create. I want to be able to, attract stories that fit with my vision as well. So I thought that it was a great opportunity to do so. So I started Magic Carpet because Magic Carpet, I love like magic carpets, and I think that it takes you on an adventure, on a journey, and then Magic Carpet is MC, so MC is also my initials. So it's kind of like a play.
So perfect.
Yeah. So that's how it became to be.
I love that. And what kind of stories do you want to tell that you don't see?
I think I really love stories that really focus on social issues. that focus on, you know, topics like belonging, or sometimes the lack thereof, and not really being seen or feeling belonged to any particular type of, you know, grouping
Group
or
or
anything like that, or community. I like to explore those gray areas because I feel like I've always kind of had to live and navigate that gray space. So those are the types of stories that I really, really love.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And pretty universal. I think people can really relate to the not belonging,
Yeah.
kind of those gray feelings.
Yes.
And you're right, like we don't talk about them.
We don't talk about them. We don't.
They do not exist.
That's
but
it.
They do.
They do. They do, and they surface when they need to, right?
So true. Yes.
Yeah.
And so what is your goal with your production company? What would you like it to look like in like 5 or 10 years? What does it look like?
I would say that I would love to have something like what like Issa Rae has with Hooray Media.
Yes.
I think that's, I know it's a big goal, but I
Dream big.
I'm dreaming. So
That's right.
it's a good time to just not dream.
Right.
So, yeah, I see it like that. I do see creating meaningful work, collaborating with just great artists within the city. Also giving back. I really do see it being something bigger, bigger than me. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think you'll make stories that messages that people need to hear.
Yeah.
I feel like just feeling that out, just a
We'll have to listen back to this in like 5 years and see.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be.
Probably 10 years from now. That's so cool. And you do a lot of voiceover work as well.
I do.
So
I do.
fun. What do you
Yeah.
love about voiceover?
I love that I don't have to dress up.
Fuck yes, 100%. It's my favorite part.
That's my favorite part.
It doesn't even matter what I look like.
I could just step into the booth and just, you know, and just be.
Yes.
You know, like I love it. I think it's fantastic. You get to really, you know, use your imagination and just be, you know, just be, and whatever comes out, you know, improv and everything, whatever comes out, it comes out. And like, I just absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic work. And I think that a lot of them don't get credit for it. Like people watch things and they don't realize like there's someone in a booth that is
with nothing but a microphone. With
nothing but a microphone in some directions.
Yeah.
You know, bringing that character, bringing that thing to life.
Yeah.
So I think it's incredible.
That's wicked.
Yeah,
That's
I love
awesome. Do you have a favorite project that you've worked on for voiceover?
I would, yes. I would say that Far Cry 6 was my favorite project.
Amazing.
Because it was the project that I was really involved with. Like,
nice.
I wrote some of the script as well.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
So that was really cool. And then I got to dialect coach along with like some other fantastic dialect coaches. I got to dialect coach like all the actors as well on that project. So that was it was a very intimate project for me. And I just loved it. And then I got to play a character on it. So it was just a beautiful project.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So much collaboration.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love. That's so much fun. I love voiceover too. I love.
What's your favorite?
Of a voiceover?
Yeah, that you've done.
Oh, that I've done? I haven't done much. I just love pretending. I love pretending that I've done a lot. No, I just like being in the booth because it is kind of like you enter your own little world, right? It's kind of like if you were to imagine it, it's, you know, when you go to VR video games and you put on your goggles,
your headset.
and you're shooting in the room that's empty, but to you see everything. That's like a voiceover booth. Yeah. For me, I think it's just so much. It's entering a room of just endless possibilities. It's like a blank sheet of paper for a writer, right? So I think it's just
it is, and it's really good because then it's like if something's not working in the booth, and you're saying it and it's just not quite landing, then the director will say, okay, like, let's say it this way, or try this, or think of this, and it's just a great opportunity to bring things to life. Like, it's just, and it is collaborative. Like, it's just really, really beautiful.
Nice. And did you just fall into voiceover, or did you take classes and then?
I would say I fell into it.
Nice.
For sure. A little bit, I guess, because so I am also a singer, and I guess I never thought I could use my voice like in that sort of way. I just always thought of it as like, oh, I should just sing, and that's that, right? So, so a lot of auditions that would ask for singing, I would also do that. But this particular, I think my very that particular project was asking for a certain accent, which I knew how to do. So I was like, okay, I'm going to totally do this and just see where it goes, right? And so I sent in my sample, and they loved it, and they asked me to come in and do it like in person, and so I did that. Nice. And then by the end of it, I was asked like, hey, so you're going to get the role, but can you also be a coach? Because the accent is spot on what we're looking for the world that we're creating, and so like we would love for you to be able to coach the actors for that.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So. And you just did it on a whim.
You're I was like,
not?
You know what? Let's do it. So
yes-anding life.
That's it. Yes and so
yes and coaching.
Yes and this. Yes and
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I did that, and I had a great person that was also coaching as well. His name's Carlos Diaz. Fantastic mentor for me, and he was really great. And he was very, very influential for me and helped me a lot through my voice acting, and has helped me as well.
Okay. What are some things that you needed to learn about voice acting that you didn't know before?
Well, I think that like with voice acting, it's very similar to singing. So I like I said, I started singing at a very young age, and I learned, you learn like your voice, and you learn about your diaphragm, and you learn about all that stuff that is required. I think what I realized was that it requires the same care for your voice. So taking care of your voice, making sure you're hydrated, making sure that you're doing your exercises before you go into a booth. Make sure you have an apple with you because it helps with the saliva, because your mouth can get very parched when you're doing 2 hours of, screaming and this, right? So all of that like self-care that as a singer I would do, I didn't realize that even as a voice actor, you also have to ensure that you're doing, and probably even more, because depending on the role that you have, whatever it's demanding of you, if it's asking you to really, scream like as if you're at war, that puts a lot of strain on your voice. So you need to also exercise that self-care. Don't talk afterwards, like really just, practice that self-care.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wicked. I like the apple hack. I didn't heard that one. That's so smart.
Yeah.
Because pretty parched pretty fast.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Especially when you're nervous and doing it.
Exactly.
Saliva's gone in a second.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Jude and the Gin.
Yeah.
Jude and the Gin. Tell me about Jude and the Gin.
Jude and the Gin is a film that I co-produced. And it's a really exciting film. We shot in Cairo, and we shot in Toronto. It's just a super exciting film that we've been able to bring to life. And it's starring Alexander Siddig as well, and he's been a part of like the Star Trek shows, and so he's pretty good.
So he's all right.
He's pretty good. And Azza as well. She's a fantastic actress. She plays Jude. So yeah, it's a really exciting project, and we're hoping to get it into the festival circuit soon. So
amazing.
Yeah.
What's a lesson that you learned throughout the process of Jude and the Gin?
Lots of producing errors.
Yeah. What kind of errors?
I think it's just, I think it's just really making sure that you have a lot of the things done beforehand, so that it can be as smooth as possible. Look, you're always going to get bumps in the road while you're doing your production and when you're in your production and so forth. But I think that if we could have just did a little bit more planning earlier, that would have been really great.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Amazing.
But all in all, super excited.
Yes.
And excited about it. So it's a project that we should all the collaborators should be very proud of.
Yes, 100%. 100%. If you do any project to completion,
I know that
deserves a good.
That in of itself is a round of applause,
right? It takes so much, and I'm guilty of there's a bump in the road. Okay, we'll throw it in the towel and we'll try again maybe later, kind of thing. And with projects that you see even happening online when they're posting the process of it, it all looks so very smooth and everything just fell together. And even in the interviews when they're talking about it after,
exactly,
everything just fell together and everything was so great. Like, tell me about the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that shit. Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yes. I'm alive. Do you have insurance?
We almost killed our guest. Is there anything that you wanted me to go over that we didn't talk about?
I think we did a really good job here. I think it was really well-rounded. I think that I had a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you.
And it was just so nice to see you after all this time. Because we've been in this thing.
We've been in it.
So, and it's nice to see your journey, and you get to see my journey.
Yes.
And it's just really wonderful to see that.
Thank you. Yeah. And right back at you. I love seeing the process of people's careers too, because it is, for all the big celebrities and LA people, we only see them at this level.
Exactly.
You don't see the whole coming up level. So I thoroughly enjoy
this is the magic.
Yes.
Right?
Like the freedom.
The freedom to fail.
Yes.
The freedom to make your mistakes, and and also this is such a beautiful time when people don't really know who you are.
Yes. Yeah. As much as I would love a million followers, I'm like, thank God no one's
exactly
saw that.
Exactly, right? And so I think there's a magic to it, because there's still that privacy in your life that you can, maintain and have, and who knows how long that'll last, right?
Yeah, and you're not brutally criticized for the stupid mistakes that you make.
Yeah,
we'll all make the stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's canceling us.
No one's canceling us yet, so we'll see. Who knows? Who knows in the future? But
we'll play this back in 10 years. No one's canceling us. I love it. That's awesome. I just like to finish off with one question: is what would you call this chapter of your life?
This chapter of my life is called Enough. I am enough.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, if you even me coming here with my curly hair today, that wouldn't have been a thing maybe even a year ago, right? I would have been like, oh, I have to straighten my hair. I have to and I think this chapter is I am enough. And I think that's what I'm bringing into the rest of this year and 2025 and beyond.
Amen.
So headshots are going to start to look a little different.
Yes. Headshots are going to look different. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that because yes, it's so true.
Yes.
It's enough.
Yeah.
And even when we were talking earlier about do you want the accent? Do you not want the accent? And showing up as you are.
Yeah.
And what is aligned for you will be yours. If they want the person with the accent, then they're going to go with the person with the accent.
Exactly.
And if they want somebody with a general American accent, they're going to go with the person with a general American accent.
Exactly.
You know, if they want a person with the curly hair, they're going to go with the person with the curly hair.
Exactly.
And so it is just, you are enough. You're trying to bend yourself for every single audition. And
it's exhausting. And I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm like,
Yes.
no, that's it. Fuck it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being on my podcast
Thank
today.
you for having me.
I so enjoyed this.
I love this.
Yay!
I love this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, comment your favorite part or your favorite takeaway from this interview. And if you want to donate, help keep this podcast going, you can head to my website, AlisonMullings.com, and I'll see you in the next interview.